Skip ahead to the 1 minute mark for today's message. Let's get started. All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier eye hypnosis life healer coach and your personal guide. So today is a very important topic that we're going to be talking about, that I'm going to be reflecting on for you, keeping you in mind. Of course, I'm talking to you as a healer, as a coach. If you're somebody who's maybe in this space now, maybe being on the journey of being or becoming a healer, being and becoming a coach over maybe the last 6 months or maybe even the last couple of years, this is something that we do think a lot about. I'm sure you've had those moments where you feel like, okay, you know what? I just want to quit. Now, I'm not just talking about, saying, okay, I want to quit from being the healer and the coach, but maybe it's a project that you're doing. Maybe it's the content that you're creating. Maybe it's just, one of the funnels that you started. Right? It doesn't matter what you're thinking of. What is important is that a lot of times this thought will creep in. And once it does, then it's almost like every moment you're thinking of, should I, shouldn't I, maybe I should. And one thing I want to tell you is that even if that's what you're thinking about right now, after having recorded these pods for closer now to 3 years, one thing I can tell you is that on those days when you're actually on the verge of quitting, don't. Because our theme, of course, we're talking about, it's just one more step. So think of it as you're about to discover something. And if you quit, you never will, at least not on this path. So if this is something that you've been wanting to hear from the outside, somebody to just remind you that, hey, you know what? Just walk one more step. And sure, if the feeling persists, then obviously, and who am I to tell you whether you should or shouldn't do something, whether you should continue or quit? But if you're somebody who's just contemplating about that next step, all I can say is just walk that step. And who knows, maybe you might feel different after that. Maybe you might change your mind. And that can lead to some really amazing discoveries. I know over the last, especially the last 3 years, in this work of making it a point to create content every single day, record a video every single day, there have been some amazing days. There have been some, confusing days. There have been some down days. But what's important is that I followed this principle, and I know that this has made a lot of the difference, not just about, creating content, but in becoming more of me. When you're talking about what changes in your existence, what changes in the person that you are, one thing I can definitely tell you is that when you take on something like this, which is, let's say, you're going to create content every day, or you're going to show up every day, whatever it is that you um, have been contemplating, maybe whether you should stop or not. If you just show up for one more day, take one more step, you might just surprise yourself. So, as always, these pods are created with you in mind. My intention is, of course, to be here as that lighthouse to remind you that you're not alone. And as always, if there's any way in which I can help you, please do reach out and let me know. And of course, I keep coming back every single day to create these pods just to remind you that you're not alone on this journey. And I really do look forward to seeing you, listening to your comments, reading your comments. And if there's any way in which I can support you, we do have a community, so you can always ask for more details about that. And lastly, of course, as always, remember to live your purpose. God bless, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.